Hi there, it's Zoe here from livingwithasleeve.com. Thanks for joining me for part 3 of my sleeve gastrectomy troubleshooting series. Once again, thanks for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. And just before we get started on today's topic, I wondered if you'd like to tell me if what you've tried from the first video and the second video have actually made a difference. So whether or not you've put the first 2 parts into practice. So shoot me an email or leave me a comment below, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Today we're going to look at eating out, because eating out can be tricky on a number of fronts. It can be hard to decide where to go, then what to choose from the menu, and it's really difficult sometimes to eat slowly enough to make sure that you don't sort of feel uncomfortable after your meal, as we discussed in part 1 of the video series. So everybody's finishing quickly, and it can be really difficult to slow down and take your time and not get dragged along with the crowd. So to make eating out easier, there's a few key tips that I wanted to talk through with you. The first thing is, before you even go, try and choose a restaurant that suits you. So some really good options are things that you share. So things like Indian or Thai or Vietnamese or tapas, where you can get a few dishes between the bunch of you and just share, and that means that you can pick and choose what you really feel like at the time, and it makes you less conspicuous if you're a secret sleever, because nobody will really be able to tell how much you've eaten and how much you've left of your meal on the plate if you're just picking and choosing little bits. My second tip is, when you get to your restaurant, if you have chosen a place where you're having your own meal, try to choose from the entree menu. So in the US, that's the appetizers. Try and choose the smaller portions. So rather than choosing something that's going to be too big, or choosing something that you're not really going to like but you think is better for you, choose something small but something that you think will really satisfy you and something that will sit well with you. So try and go with something that's sort of similar to what you would normally eat, especially in the beginning when you're getting used to your sleeve, because that's when we can make a few mistakes, I guess, and make yourself feel uncomfortable if you're not used to eating that type of food. Don't eat and drink at the same time, tip number 3. So that can be really tricky when you're eating out, because often you'll have, say, a glass of wine with your meal. Instead of doing that, try and have your glass of wine when you first get to the restaurant. And then a handy tip is, stop drinking when you've ordered your meal, and then hopefully by the time it's got there, it will have been about 15-20 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer, so that that drink will have had time to digest. Eat your meal, and then after the meal, pick up the drink again, but give it at least 20 minutes before you do so. So go back to the tips in part 1 where we were talking, and part 2 where we were talking about eating and drinking at the same time, and same thing when you're out, but stopping when you order your meals, and then drinking again when everybody else is having dessert, is a really good way to kind of pace yourself with your drinking throughout the meal. My 4th tip for eating out is, don't be afraid to ask for something different. So often chefs won't mind, but really just go, can I have a half serve of that, or can you just give me a small portion of this, or can I swap the chips if they don't go down well with you, or the fries, can I swap them for some veggies instead? And most of the time they really won't mind. My last tip is, try to still concentrate on what you are eating. I know sometimes it's difficult because you might get sort of swept away in the conversation, or you're distracted by everything else that's going on around you, but it really is important to still concentrate on what you're doing. It will just make you feel much more comfortable. You'll be more able to sort of stop when you feel like you've had enough, and you can always ask to take the rest home if you like, if there's still lots on your plate that you haven't been able to eat, which is probably the case. So just a little recap to finish off for this video. Choose a restaurant that involves sharing. It makes it much easier. Always choose a small portion. Don't be afraid to ask for something different. Manage your drinks, so stop drinking when you order your meal and then start drinking again at least 20 to 30 minutes afterwards. And finally, still try and concentrate on what you're doing. It'll make you feel a lot more comfortable and make eating out a much more pleasurable experience again. So in the next video, we're looking at what to do if you don't actually get that pleasure out of your food anymore and what might be going on. And the link for that video will be coming to you in 48 hours, so keep an eye out in your inbox. But until then, I hope you have a great couple of days and enjoy your meals.